So in this video, we're going to talk about conditionals. Now, conditionals are basically these lines of code that allow you to execute or run certain segments of code when a certain condition is met. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the if statement. So to write an if statement, you type in if like that. You'll notice it changes colors, and then you type in your Boolean expression, your Boolean statement, something that evaluates to a Boolean. So for example, 1 equals 2, and then we're going to type some code in here. Now, basically what this is saying is if this condition is met, if this is true, then execute the code that is indented below. So this is the code in this case. Whatever code is indented underneath the if statement is the code that will run. It's basically, it's considered being inside the if statement. So now 1 is not equal to 2, that's false. So we're going to get nothing. However, if we change it, now it's true, now we should get hello. Now once the code in the if statement, once the if statement is done, the code moves on as normal. So if the if statement is not true and the print hello does not run, we skip this and we move on to this anyways. And then of course, if it does work, we run the code indented and then we move on with the code. So next up, we have another thing called an else statement, or not really a statement. Else needs to be paired with another if statement, and it's written after the if statement. So you have else like this. There's no statement here. You'll notice there's no Boolean statement. It's just else colon and then the code you want to run. So what happens here is if the statement is true, the code underneath the if statement will run. Otherwise, the else statement code will run. So here we see that's true, so we print hello. If it's not, we're going to print what's underneath the else statement. Yep. So, okay. So that's how else statement works. Basically, if the if statement runs, the else statement won't run. Otherwise, that runs. One final thing is something called an Elif statement. Now, okay, you can have multiple Elif statements, but these always have to go in between an if and maybe an else. You don't need to have an else, but you could if you want. So if 1 is equal to 2, print hello. Elif 1 is equal to 3. We'll do this. And we'll put in another one just so you guys get the point. We'll just say this. Okay, so this is how this should work. 1 is not equal to 2, so we skip this part. We move on to here. Else if. Elif stands for else if. So else if 1 is equal to 3, well, it's not, so we're not going to run this. Else if 1 is equal to 1, that's true, so run the code below. And so we should get that. Yeah, and now that we finally encountered a true statement, we skip the rest and go move on. So let's say instead we make this the true statement. Now in this case, of course, again, if 1 is equal to 2, print hello. Well, 1 is not equal to 2, so we move on. Else, if 1 is equal to 1, print yes. That's true. So what's going to happen is, as you can see, we print yes, and we move on. Now, even though this statement is also true, they're both true statements, because we already executed some code here. We saw that this is true, and then we executed code. We move on. We ignore all this, and then we continue with the flow. Yeah, like that. And then, of course, you don't need an else statement or elif statements, of course. You just need the if statement for conditionals. These are just extra things you can add. Oh, that's the same as the previous. So yeah, and then I'll just give you one last example with perhaps some different ones. So 1 in 1, 2, 3. That's going to run anyways, but I think you understand the point. Let's do this. This should print true, yeah? So basically, as a summary, conditionals are ways to basically have your program execute certain segments of code only if a certain condition is met. And you can use these if, or else lines or statements to help you control when certain lines of code are run, and basically you can define the conditions you want to be met in this Boolean statement right here. So thank you for watching. Please leave any feedback and comments. Any feedback or questions in the comment section. And that's it.